Your garden looks great in May. Then summer hits and everything falls apart. Water bills climb. Plants struggle. Some choices bring regret you cannot easily fix. These are 13 features that cause real problems in summer, counted down to the worst. Number 13. An outdoor TV on an open patio. You spent $2,000 on an outdoor TV. You hung it on the wall right where the sun hits. By August, the screen has dark blotches and the picture has washed out completely. The sun degrades the LCD layer inside the screen and the heat damages the components behind the panel. Sun damage voids most warranties. The fine print covers the manufacturer, not the buyer. Even TVs sold as outdoor rated need shade during peak hours. But that detail rarely comes up in the store conversation. What you end up with is a screen that works for 4 hours a day at best, mostly after sunset, mounted under a covered patio with a weather-rated model, and it performs well for years. Skip the cover, and you have spent real money on a feature that becomes unusable through the hottest months. The smart position is under a roof, awning, or fully shaded wall, away from direct sun between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. Number 12. A white marble or crushed seashell path. Crushed white marble works beautifully in a magazine photograph. In real life, that path becomes a reflective surface that bounces direct sun into your eyes, your children's eyes, and your house windows. Crushed seashells carry their own problem. The edges are sharp enough to cut bare feet on contact, and they break down over time into smaller fragments that persist in the ground for years. The material also travels. It gets caught in shoe treads and ends up scratching interior floors every time someone walks inside. Dark stone, brick, or standard pavers solve every one of these issues at once. They give you a clean, comfortable walkway with no glare and no hidden cuts. It is not obvious until you have lived through a full summer with reflective white gravel that the problem is the path itself, not the light. Number 11. Synthetic wicker furniture left in full sun. The store sold it as weatherproof and all season. The plastic strips are made from PVC or polyethylene, and sustained UV exposure breaks those materials down faster than most people expect. By the second summer, the strips fade to a pale gray. The weave starts to crack, and the chairs begin to lose their shape. Once the plastic becomes brittle, individual strips snap under normal use, and the metal frame underneath starts to corrode through the gaps. A set that cost $1,000 ends up being replaced well before its time. Either keep the set under cover, store it during the hottest months, or choose real teak or aluminum that handles UV without deteriorating. Cheap plastic wicker has a predictable lifespan in full sun. Knowing that before the purchase changes the decision. Number 10. Glass deck railings on a south-facing balcony. Glass deck railings give a clean, modern look in listing photographs. Then summer arrives and the practical issues start. The glass heats significantly in direct sun, and smudges, fingerprints, dust, and bird droppings show up on every panel within hours. Once the sun bakes them on, they require a specific cleaner to shift properly. Hot glass also behaves unexpectedly. Sunlight bouncing through curved or angled panels has been documented scorching deck boards and affecting dry plants nearby. Wood, cable, or powder-coated metal railings give you an open view without the daily cleaning obligation or the heat concerns. The glass aesthetic is attractive. The maintenance reality in a south-facing position is less so. Number 9. A dark-colored garden hose, coiled in direct sun. This one causes problems that most people do not anticipate until it happens to them. A dark rubber or PVC hose sitting in full sun heats the water inside the coil to temperatures that are genuinely dangerous. Studies measuring hose water temperature in summer conditions have recorded the first burst, reaching well above 100 degrees, enough to damage young plants on contact and cause burns if someone picks it up barefoot or lets a child drink from it. This is not obvious until you have lived with it through a full summer. The hose looks exactly the same sitting in the sun as it does when it was new. Nothing signals the problem until someone touches it. Run the hose for 30 seconds before using it on plants or handing it to a child. Better still, store it on a covered reel in the garage or under a porch between uses, or choose a lighter colored hose that absorbs less heat. It is a small adjustment with a meaningful result. Number 8. A trampoline placed dead center in a sunny yard. The appeal is straightforward. The trampoline goes where there is space, and most open yards have space in the center. The problem is that a black matte surface in full sun climbs well above comfortable temperatures by mid-morning. The frame and springs heat at the same rate. Children who reach for the frame for balance pull away from something much hotter than they expected. Prime hours of summer vacation become hours when the trampoline is genuinely too hot to use safely. There is a secondary issue too. The mat blocks all light to the grass beneath it, and the lawn underneath dies within a few weeks, leaving a patch of bare soil that collects water and creates its own maintenance problem. Positioning the trampoline near shade, adding a sun cover, or placing it under a tall tree addresses both issues. The heat problem has a simple fix. It just needs to be considered before the equipment goes in, not after. Number 7. A backyard greenhouse with no automatic vents. A hobby greenhouse for tomatoes, cucumbers, and herbs seems like a straightforward investment. The issue is what happens inside a sealed glass structure on a normal warm day. Internal temperatures in a sealed greenhouse can exceed 100 degrees when the outside temperature is only 80. Tomato flowers drop, leaves scorch, and the soil dries out by midday. Without automatic vents that open when the temperature reaches a set threshold, the only solution is to be home every afternoon to manually open the structure. One missed afternoon can cost the entire crop. Automatic vents are not expensive additions, and they are available for most standard hobby greenhouse models. Shade cloth for July and August manages what the vents alone cannot. Buy a greenhouse with neither, and the structure becomes an expensive problem rather than a productive asset. Number 6. English ivy climbing a south-facing house wall. Ivy on brick has a specific visual appeal that is difficult to argue with in photographs. The long-term reality is considerably less charming. The tiny root structures that allow ivy to climb, called holdfasts, dig into mortar joints, soft brick, wood siding, and stucco. They are not easily removed. When the ivy eventually comes off, sections of the wall surface often come with it. The thick leaf mass traps moisture against the wall underneath, which causes rot in timber and breaks down older mortar over time. The dense growth also provides ideal nesting conditions for rodents and wasps behind the green curtain where they are not visible. On a south wall specifically, the leaf mass holds the day's accumulated heat against the structure overnight, adding to cooling load through summer evenings. Climbing roses, clematis, or jasmine on a separate trellis give you the same visual effect without the wall contact. The ivy look comes at a structural cost that takes years to become visible and considerably more to repair. Number 5. A glass-topped patio table in afternoon sun. Glass tables look elegant in a showroom. In a real summer garden, they carry 2 risks that are worth understanding before purchase. Poor quality glass can crack from heat shock when the temperature difference across the panel becomes significant enough. A full shatter of a glass tabletop produces a large number of fragments, which is a serious safety concern when furniture is in regular use. The more documented concern is focused light. Curved or beveled glass tops have been recorded starting small fires by concentrating sunlight onto cushions or wooden decking beneath them, a similar effect to a magnifying glass in direct sun. Garden mirrors and curved metal bowls carry the same risk. Keep glass tables under shade or beneath an umbrella. Never leave flammable material directly beneath them in full sun. A metal, stone, or solid timber top eliminates both concerns entirely and tends to perform better through repeated summer seasons. Number 4. Overplanted containers left in full summer sun. This is one of the most common midsummer disappointments in any garden and one of the least talked about. Pots and containers planted generously in spring look spectacular through May and June. Then the combination of summer heat, reduced root space, and the rapid moisture loss from terracotta and lightweight plastic creates a daily crisis. A pot that needed watering every 2 days in spring may need watering twice a day by July. Miss one session on a hot afternoon and the plants in smaller containers can be beyond recovery within hours. This is not obvious until you have lived with it through a full summer. The same containers that looked effortless in the showroom garden require significant daily attention once the temperature rises and the root system fills the available soil. The fix is straightforward. Choose larger containers where possible. More soil volume means slower moisture loss. Group pots together so they shade each other's sides. Move the most vulnerable containers to part shade during the hottest weeks. And water in the early morning rather than the evening, when uptake is most effective and evaporation is lowest. Overplanted containers are one of summer's most manageable garden challenges. They just need to be planned for, not discovered. Number 3. Boxwood hedges as a signature border. Boxwood is among the most planted hedge plants in the country, and it is facing two serious threats simultaneously. Boxwood blight, a fungal disease, has now spread across a significant portion of the U.S. and parts of Canada. It strips leaves and kills established hedges within months, and there is currently no cure. The box tree moth, which arrived from Asia, adds a second pressure. Its caterpillars consume leaves down to the bare stems. A homeowner who has invested in a mature box hedge over many years can lose the feature in a single growing season with no option other than full removal and replacement. Japanese holly, inkberry holly, or yew deliver the same formal shape and visual density without the current disease and pest vulnerability. The boxwood look is achievable through species that are not facing the same level of risk. That substitution is worth making before the investment is placed in the ground, rather than after. Number 2. Railroad tie retaining walls or raised beds. Old railroad ties appear to offer a cost-effective, rustic solution for retaining walls and raised planting beds. The problem is what the timber is treated with. Railroad ties are soaked in coal tar creosote, a compound the EPA classifies as a probable human carcinogen. The EPA advises against using creosote-treated wood in vegetable gardens or near areas where children play. Creosote leaches from the wood for years, particularly in warm conditions. Studies have found elevated levels of associated compounds in soil directly adjacent to railroad ties, with measurable uptake into crops grown in that ground. The material also becomes unpleasant to be near in summer heat, sticky to the touch and releasing fumes that are detectable at a distance. Concrete blocks, untreated cedar, or natural stone deliver the same structural function without the chemical concern. Where railroad ties are already in place near food-growing areas or play spaces, replacing them is a straightforward project that removes a long-term risk. Number 1. Pampas grass as a privacy screen. Pampas grass is one of the most shared plants on social media garden boards. It is also one of the most consequential choices a homeowner can make. California has restricted or banned certain Pampas varieties, and several counties have specific prohibitions in place. Portugal and Spain added it to their national invasive species lists in 2013 and 2019. A single mature plant produces a large number of seeds that travel on the wind over significant distances, establishing new growth far beyond the original planting location. The dry plumes present a fire risk in areas prone to summer fires. The upright structure carries embers in a way that low ground cover does not. The leaves have sharp edges that cause cuts on contact, and removal, once the plant has established a mature root mass, is a substantial undertaking that typically requires professional help. Native bunch grasses provide a similar visual effect with none of the invasive spread, fire risk, or removal difficulty. In areas where fire safety is a consideration, the choice of what goes in the ground carries consequences beyond the garden itself. Pampas grass is one of the clearest examples of a feature where the photograph and the reality are furthest apart. Walk your yard at 2 in the afternoon on the hottest day before you spend anything. Build for July, and the garden holds up every other month too.